So we're going to hit the road with this new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder SL Edition and see what it's all about and what its on-road driving dynamics are about. All right, so now we're inside of the Pathfinder for part 2. If you didn't watch part 1, we go over the exterior as well as the interior to kind of show you what it's all about, and I talked about the shifting system. So we're going to take this Pathfinder for a quick drive. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so everyone wants to know how you shift this into drive because it's got a really interesting system here. Right now it's in park, which is simply by pressing this button. If I were to go in reverse, I'd press the side button, hold it in, and press forward. Now I'm in reverse. And if I want to go to drive, I simply move it all the way to the back and I'm in drive. If I want to return to park, I'll simply press the park button, and now I'm in park. So now I want to go to drive, and all I have to do is move it back and I'm in drive. It's easy to use, it's intuitive, it is just different, right? Everyone's doing things different now in terms of shifting. So we are going to hit the road. Absolutely love the look of this vehicle on the inside. And I really, really like the driving dynamics so far, to be honest with you. You know, it is a very, very easy vehicle to drive. It feels very solid, and it definitely feels like a luxury vehicle. Very smooth on the road. The suspension really tames some of the bumps. And this is not the smoothest road, but it feels like kind of like you're blended between a luxury SUV and a luxury sedan. Very quiet inside, and that's something I also like about these vehicles. And again, this 9-speed transmission shifts buttery smooth. So I'm going to change lanes here real quick. I'm going to give it a little bit of throttle, and it has no problem picking up speed. You know, this is one of those areas that you'll see some channels that'll drag race these things. They'll give you 0 to 60 times. And, you know, that's worth it if you're dealing with a performance-oriented vehicle. But with a family vehicle, I think most people just care to get up to highway speeds quickly, right? That's what really matters. When are you going to use it? Are you going to use it to pass a vehicle? Are you going to use that speed and that horsepower to, you know, get off-the-line launches, which I don't think most people will. I think people that get a Nissan Pathfinder tend to have a family. They're looking for something that's comfortable, reliable, feels safe, provides them with safety features, while at the same time gives you the power and acceleration you need to maybe pass a vehicle if you're on a 2-lane road out in the middle of, you know, farm country, if you are on a highway or interstate and you need to overtake another vehicle. That's really where I think that horsepower and torque comes in. I don't think anybody goes to a dealership looking at a Pathfinder thinking that it's going to be a Corvette. It's good to know the power's there when you need it, though, and the power's definitely here. I don't think it needs more power is probably the best way of putting it. Very comfortable. The seats have excellent bolstering. I'm very, very pleased with the overall comfort of the interior. Like I said, it definitely feels like you're in a luxury vehicle, which I think a lot of people would probably associate with the Nissan Pathfinder. Even though it's not, in my take, a luxury vehicle, it, in my opinion, is very much equipped like a luxury vehicle. So it's kind of like that entry luxury if you're going into a premium vehicle, and it's something that a lot of people can afford. So there's a lot of reasons to look at a Nissan Pathfinder. Okay, again, the acceleration's here. I mean, it'll get you up to speed very quickly. It will give you the power you're looking for to likely do whatever you would need or feel you want to do with this type of vehicle. And I think that's what's most important to people when they're looking at something like this. Again, very nice inside. It feels solid, and I always look for that when I'm looking at vehicles. I don't like vehicles that feel hollow. Basically, they feel like they're made out of cardboard. Every time you hit a bump, it's almost like somebody's hitting a bass drum in your ear because the whole vehicle kind of reverberates with that hollowness. I like the fact that this feels like a luxury sedan inside, which means everything feels, I guess, heavier and more insulated might be the best way to describe it. I think people probably understand where I'm going at with that. Sometimes I'll hop into like a Toyota Camry, or I'll hop into even like a Nissan Altima. Well, not so much an Altima nowadays because they're actually pretty solid feeling. But there are some vehicles you get into that just feel super hollow. They feel like there's no insulation in it, like everything is super light, and every time you hit a bump, the whole vehicle kind of reverberates with that bass of the road inside of the vehicle. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It makes for a nauseating drive. It makes you feel like you're in a cheap vehicle, and it also makes drives exhausting. I like when vehicles feel solid. They feel like they're designed well in terms of insulation, in terms of shock absorption, and just overall comfort. That's what I'm looking for, and I think that the Pathfinder delivers on that well. Now, do I think that it is game-changing? No. I don't think that there's anything about the driving dynamics of this Pathfinder that give it a serious advantage over other midsize SUVs in its class. I've driven Dodge Durangos. We owned a Dodge Durango, Ford Explorers, Nissan Pilot, even the previous Nissan Pathfinder. And in my opinion, they all feel about the same. You know, they all have a similar overall quality feeling to them. And I've driven some other vehicles like a Toyota RAV4 and a Honda CR-V. And those vehicles to me feel hollow. They feel really cheap. They don't feel like they have that quality thud to them when you close doors, when you go over bumps and things like that. And this Nissan does feel like it has those qualities. It feels like it is in a higher class. So I do like that about this vehicle. And in many ways it is in a higher class because it costs more, right? Again, you're talking about a vehicle that's in the mid 40s as equipped in an SL package. If you get this in like a Platinum, if you get this in a higher trim package, you are going to pay a lot more, but you're going to have a few more luxury features, like you'll have heated and ventilated seats, whereas this one only has heated seats. You're going to have memory seats on the doors. You're going to have a lot of features that this one doesn't have and you just don't get in this kind of entry luxury category. And what do I consider entry luxury? Typically, I consider entry luxury where you have navigation, you have 360-degree cameras, and leather interior. If you have those three features, I would typically say that you're approaching the higher trim luxury classes, but you're right at that point to where you're not there yet. You're entry luxury. And that's what I kind of view this SL package as. Now, in terms of fuel economy, I've been averaging about 21 miles per gallon, which I think is admirable for this vehicle. So 21 miles per gallon, that's mixed driving. On the highway, you know, I'm getting roughly about 26 miles per gallon, and in town, I'm getting about 18 miles per gallon. So mixed driving so far, about 21, and I'd say that that's pretty average for this type of vehicle. Now, I know there are folks who get much better fuel economy in vehicles based on where you live and how you drive, but I try not to drive review vehicles differently than I would normally drive them because I want a realistic kind of interpretation of what my fuel economy would be if I owned this vehicle, and I think that's the accuracy most people are looking for when they own a vehicle. So for me, the numbers are pretty admirable. I'm happy with them, especially considering that's about 10 miles per gallon better than what I get in my truck. And finally, before I wrap this video up, I want to talk about some of the features that I don't really care for. You're starting to see them in all sorts of vehicles, but I want your opinion, like wireless phone charging. Is that something that's like super important to you all? For me, not so much, only because I typically don't mind plugging my phone in. And then secondly, the wireless charger always seems to be in an area where I don't want to put my phone. In the case of the Pathfinder, it's right here below all your AC controls in the center console area. There's a little area to prop your phone up, but I know that it's kind of designed and meant for folks to use their infotainment system up here to do their phone features, and they don't have to touch their phone. But for me, I guess I just feel more comfortable having my phone closer to me, or at least readily available if for some reason I need to access it. And having it in the wireless charging area, and this isn't just Nissan, but having it in that wireless charging area that most vehicles put in kind of a weird pocket, just isn't too appealing to me. And I'd love to know your feedback on that. Do you guys use the wireless charging area that your vehicle has, or do you tend to just plug your phone in? Or do you have a case on your phone that prevents you from really taking advantage of wireless charging? Or I guess the best question would be, do you absolutely love wireless charging? And is it an important feature for you to have whenever you buy a new vehicle? Please leave a comment below. I'm sure the folks at Nissan would really like to know that answer as well. Anyways, I would love to get your feedback on this vehicle. You know, I've done quite a few SUVs. I know a lot of people pretty much strictly associate my channel to trucks and RVs and accessories for both of them. But believe it or not, if you go back in my channels, I've probably done nearly 100 SUV reviews from all sorts of different makes and models. And, you know, it was really cool of Nissan to send this out to me so I could spend a week in it and kind of give you my impressions of what it's like. I've had this now for a week, so they'll be picking it up. But again, I wanted to let you all know how I felt about this, because even though I have a big truck and we tow a fifth wheel, when we're not towing the fifth wheel and when I'm not driving my truck, I'm driving my wife's SUV around, or I'm driving a car that we have around. So to to be able to drive something like this, especially at the price point that it falls, especially knowing that it's equipped the way it is important, because whenever we get out of my wife's vehicle, it's always good to know what other manufacturers are doing and if we should consider those vehicles. So definitely want your feedback. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Anyways, I sure hope you've enjoyed these videos on this Nissan Pathfinder. Again, this is a 2022 model. This is a pre-production model, so this vehicle has not been released yet. I think it's gonna have a warm welcome for a lot of folks. I know there are a lot of very loyal Nissan owners out there that will absolutely love the new direction Nissan has gone with the Pathfinder. Are you one of those? Please leave a comment below. Anyways, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.